Good evening, everybody. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. And what an absolute shit show today was. What an absolute shit fest it was. Did you ever have a day that absolutely sucked? Today is that day. I'm talking about from making videos to personal life and, of course, the crypto market, right? Everybody knows I've been following the crypto market, FTX, Binance, so on and so forth. In any case, I must make this video. I must make a video about the PALANTIR earnings. Most importantly, I must talk to you guys about my personal thoughts, theories, and going forward with PALANTIR. Because you see, a lot of people are DMing me, a lot of people are asking me questions and commenting about what the heck is going on with PALANTIR. Because if you see a dozen different YouTubers and a dozen different social media personalities, you're gonna get a dozen different point of views. Naturally so, everybody's a free thinker. In today's video, I do wanna go over the earnings a little bit. I'm not gonna go into it as depth as other people. There's some fantastic people that go into earnings. And more importantly, I wanna use that as a stepping stone to tell you my own personal theory, my own personal thoughts, and what I think is the future of PALANTIR. Am I selling? Am I buying? Am I holding still? So on and so forth. I hope in some way, shape, or form this video can help you, because probably if I'm thinking it and my subscribers are thinking it, the people that DM me and message me, you're probably thinking about this at home. And if you have questions, thoughts, doubts, pros, cons, or anything in between when it comes to PALANTIR, ticker symbol PLTR, then stick around, sit back, relax, grab yourself a coffee or a beer, and just enjoy the video. And while you do, in the comments down below, do me a favor, let me know what you guys think about the earnings. Do you think they were absolute trash? Do you think they were good? Whatever, let me know. And while you're there, give me the like, and please hit that little ding notification, subscribe button as well while you're down there. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. This is the earnings presentation. These are the highlights. 22% year-over-year growth to 478 million. We actually beat by a little. We were supposed to get like 474 or 475. So this is a good thing. However, 22% is definitely a far cry from the promised 30% of Dr. Alex Karp. The interesting thing is, the last couple of earnings, it was like stated 30% compound annual growth. That was what the projection was. And then last earnings, Dr. Alex Karp said this. It wasn't stated, but he said it. All of a sudden now he's not saying this and it's not stated. That is obviously a red flag. However, I am still invested in PALANTIR regardless if they hit that 30% compound annual growth rate, because let me rephrase, I do believe that they're going to hit that. They might just not hit it right now or next year, but eventually they're going to hit that and more. I think that they're going to keep expanding their total addressable market, and they're going to hit that in the future. Again, I could be right, I could be wrong. I'm not a financial advisor, purely entertainment, so on and so forth. And this is just my train of thoughts, open mind, off the dome. U.S. revenue grew by 31%. The U.S. commercial revenue grew by 53%. Now, this is great on the surface. However, and I'll show you the chart in just a minute, the 53% is actually more than half. It cut in half of what they did last quarter, the quarter before that, so on and so forth. They were hitting triple digits for the last several quarters, and all of a sudden they have 53%. So although 53% on the surface looks great, it's not as good as 100%, correct? And this was a very interesting milestone. Government business surpassed 1 billion mark for the first time. This is really, really good. Customer count keeps increasing by 63% year over year to 337 customers. They have a positive 93% year over year total contract value growth of $1.3 billion. What does that mean? That means the money that they're pretty much going to get as long as they perform. It's not like extensions or we started small, we're going to expand. It's literally performance obligations. As long as you perform, you're going to get that money. And finally, a 63% year-over-year deals closed of 273. That's up from 167 a year ago. If you dig a little deeper in the presentation, I wanted to bring a couple of concerns that a lot of critics are bringing up, and I'll bring this up myself, right? I'll be the first one to say when I like something and the first one to say when I don't like something. Before I do show you that part of the presentation, please pay attention to this. One of 3 companies with level 6 clearance by the Department of Defense alongside Microsoft and Amazon. The reason I'm talking about this is for the second part of my video. Not right now, the second part of my video, so please pay attention to this and keep it in the back of your mind. U.S. business generated $1.1 billion, plus you have the generation of the government business over $1 billion. Really, really good, right? Those numbers are not bad at all. Government business, there goes the $1 billion. So government is growing 26%, while the U.S. business is growing 31%. However, this still doesn't account for the 30% compound annual growth rate that we were promised by Dr. Alex Karp. If you go a little bit lower, there goes the US commercial revenue growing by 53%. However, the total commercial revenue is only growing by 17%. So you're going to say, Adam, how is that possible? Well, the United States is the largest market for Palantir. So in order for them to reach that 30%, right, that's the magic number, 30%, 30%, 30%, they have to do a lot better than 53% growth. They would need to be doing that 100-something percent growth. Because they're not doing that 100% growth, that's why you see it's 17% instead of what we were getting in the past, which was 30% plus. So either they're going to have to increase the US commercial growth or increase the commercial growth abroad. Finally, you have the retention, which was 119%. This means that if you have a client right now, you're able to get an extra 19% out of them, right? Last quarter was also 119%, so I'm glad that it didn't go down. However, the quarters before that, I believe it was 126, and then it was like 146 or 145, something like that. So it is going down. However, 119% retention in general is not bad. That is a decent retention to begin with. So we'll see what's going to happen moving forward, but I'm actually happy with this number. We had an 11% growth quarter over quarter with 66% year over year. Our clients and our customers keep growing, which is fantastic. We knew about all of these customers that are growing because we follow Ether Squared. Shout out to Ether Squared. I'm actually going to see him this Thursday. We have a PALANTIR meeting in the city, which is cool. Ahmed's going to be there. Chris is going to be there, and a lot of other people from the PALANTIR community. And it's good that we're growing. This is very much needed. However, we're growing at 11% quarter over quarter. Last quarter was 10%, and before that was 17. So again, it's not that Palantir is not growing. It's not that Palantir is not doing good. Palantir is not growing as expected, and they're not doing as good as expected. By all metrics, they're doing good. However, there's this perception that they're going to hit 30%. Rightfully so. I'm not defending them. Palantir is the ones that said that, and we're not hitting it. So Dr. Alex Karp is saying, well, we will hit it on an average over the course of 10 years because we've been hitting government growth of 35% on average over the last 10 years. However, some years are flat and some years are absolutely bullish. Right now, we're getting more of a flat year. So the question is, do you believe in that or not? I'm going to let you make up your own decision, and I'm going to give you my opinion a little bit later. This is a very, very good chart right here. The remaining performance obligations grew 43% year over year to 1.3 billion, and we have a possible 4.1 billion from all contracts. Those are like extensions, possible, so on and so forth. Now, you got to deduct some of this $4.1 billion because that's a total, right? That's not in addition to. But it is a very, very nice number. Our gross margins remain above 80%, but as always, we had 82, 83, 81, 81, and now we have 80%. So the question is like, why is it going down to 80%? Why is it not going up? So we have a problem that the performance is going down. And although the performance is good by the metrics, the performance is not as good as it was before. For example, this is the commercial growth. Currently, we have 17%, but that's down from 46%, which is down from 54%. And then before that, 47 and 37%, which means our commercial growth 1 year later is actually worse than it was a year freaking later. So Q3 2021 is better than it is right now. It's not. It shouldn't be like that, right? We should be progressing or not going down. So 17%, like I said, in general is not bad. However, it's most certainly not 30% and definitely not 46 or 54%. US commercial growth, 53%. Again, great. But last quarter was 120. And the quarter before that, 136, 132, and 103. Even at that 120, if you go a little bit up, that 120 gave us 46% commercial growth. But because we only had 53% in the US growth, we now only have 17% total growth. You understand where I'm going here? So 53% is good and 17% is good. However, 53% is not even close enough to get us past 30% in total. So one has to go up if the other one is not, overcompensating right now. So it has to be a little bit more even. Now, government business did go up. Q3 a year ago, 34%. Then it went down to 26%, 16%, 13%, and now it's 26%. Why? There was a shit ton of new contracts that came in. So a lot of critics are going to say, well, these contracts are not consistent because the government does have limits of how much they spend. This is true. However, I do believe that there's going to be an expansion in government spending domestically and abroad. By 2026, government spending for military is going to be $1 trillion as per Bank of America. Currently, we're at $800 billion. So there is going to be an increase in spending. And I do believe that an increase in spending is going to be coming to PALANTIR. Obviously, not exclusively to PALANTIR, but a lot of it is going to be coming to PALANTIR, especially if they're their de facto software prime, which I believe they're going to get the official title shortly, right? In the next year, in 2023, they're going to get the official title. However, 26% is still not as good as 34%, again, just a year ago. You understand? This is the issue. This is what the critics are talking about, and I get them. I just think that there is a curve, and eventually we're going to boom up. With the geopolitical uncertainty right now in Ukraine, I believe that if we win this war, if Ukraine wins the war and PALANTIR, the rumors are true that PALANTIR is in there, that PALANTIR is helping, I believe that there's going to be an excess spending of military contracts abroad from the United Nations, from NATO, so on and so forth. So I actually think this number is going to grow in the future. I'm not one of the proponents that's going to say this number is not going to grow. Now, they did increase guidance next quarter to 503 to 505 million. If you think about that, that's around the 5.5% increase in revenue quarter over quarter. And CAGR, that would account for around 22% growth. So is that 30%? No. Can we do better than 22? Possibly. Is it going to be a lot better? No. So that 2022 is a big dud. However, the entire economy is suffering. We're at a borderline of a recession, global depression, so on and so forth. So is this terrible? Also, I don't think it's terrible. The more terrible is this. It depends on how you look at it. If it was 22% going this way, everyone would be happy. But it's not. It's 22% going this way. In other words, we're meeting the 22% revenue growth on the downhill swirl, not fighting uphill. Do you understand where I'm going with this? And that's the problem. The perception is not, oh, we hit 22%, we're so positive. No, we got down to 22%, and that's a little bit negative. The positive things that I can talk about. They have $2.4 billion in cash. They have zero debt, and they have a revolving credit line of $950 million. Plus, they have those $1.3 billion in contract, obligatory contracts, and then they have that $4.3 billion total possible contracts. Now, the total $4.3 billion possible contracts, even if you take it in half, it's still around $2 billion you're left with or so, 2-point-something billion. So there is a lot of money. That plus the $2.4 billion, plus the revolving credit line, and plus no debt makes PALANTIR an absolute monster company going into this crazy recession and depression. But now I want to bring you to the second part of this video that I was talking about, the level 6 clearance for the Department of Defense. Now, if you want to go more in depth, plus our stock-based compensation went down as well. I just wanted to say that it was like 140 million. It went down from like 180 something million off the top of my head. However, the share price of PALANTIR also went down, so it's not really a fair equation here because the stock-based compensation went down because the share prices went down. And if the share price was up, stock-based compensation would be pretty much flat. Okay, there's a lot of people that do really, really good numbers, really, really good statistics, really, really good data analytics. I'm not that channel. I'm okay, but I'm definitely not as good as other people. You guys can definitely check them out. Now, earlier I was talking about the level 6 clearance of the Department of Defense. This is an article that came out. Pentagon closing in on a $9 billion contract, cloud contract award after scuttling Jedi. Jedi was a contract for nearly $10 billion, and it was canceled, and now there's a new contract in its place. The new contract in its place is now going to be 3 people in there: Microsoft, Amazon, and PALANTIR. The Pentagon is closing in on a $9 billion cloud contract award after scuttling Jedi. Jedi was like a $10 billion contract. There was a beef between the Trump administration and Amazon, and they completely nixed the entire thing. This is a newer version of it. It's very interesting. Around a month ago, PALANTIR gets level 6 clearance for the Department of Defense, and now they're announcing that just in a month from now, they're going to announce a winner. So the U.S. Department of Defense expects to award early next month the Joint Warfighting Cloud Capability Contract, a multi-vendor enterprise-wide platform for the acquisition of billions of dollars of commercial computing services after a predecessor was canceled last year amid allegations of political interference. Speaking on November 7th, at an industry engagement event in Maryland, Chief Information Officer John Sherman said that the Pentagon is getting ready to award the JWCC in about a month, 30-day-ish, which is in line with previous estimates. The JWCC is in lieu of the JEDI contract, which was awarded to Microsoft and ultimately abandoned in July 2024. The cancellation came amid a feud between Amazon and the Trump administration, which the company accused of tainting the $10 billion competition. The new cloud competing deal, worth as much as $9 billion, is meant to connect the military's most remote edge. Focus on the word edge, Palantir Edge. I'm not saying this is the Palantir Edge, but Palantir Edge allows you to have remote services where there is no internet service. If you guys have been following the Titan program, then you guys are going to understand what I'm talking about. And that the Defense Department is trying to institute JWCC as pressure builds to more effectively process and pass information to forces across land, air, sea, space, and cyber, a notion known as the Joint All-Domain Command and Control at JADC2. You guys might recognize those words or they might sound familiar, and I'll show you why. This right here is the Titan program. You guys might have seen a demo by Anduril on this. They're working with Palantir. Palantir is a software. They are the hardware. And even an NVIDIA tech, right? There was like an NVIDIA engineer or an NVIDIA representative that works with the Department of Defense, and he says, this is a freaking game changer. This thing is a mobile center that has no need for internet. They provide their own internet via Palantir Edge. Palantir, I believe, is going to win the Titan program. Palantir, I believe, is going to get a lion's share from that $9 billion, and that's how the government contracts are going to keep growing. Government contracts are not going to end. Once Palantir gets them, there's going to be consistent growth within them. Plus, UK NHS, right, redoing the entire UK healthcare system, also billion-dollar contract over the next 10 years. Guys, to make it very, very short, I am not selling Palantir. I did buy more Palantir. I bought another $5,000 of Palantir in the last 2 days. I think Palantir is a monster. Obviously, it's not performing as expected. However, I believe give them a little bit of time. I do believe Palantir is a dope project. I believe that Dr. Alex Karp, yes, he's kooky, he's crazy, he looks like a dope-ass Einstein, but he built the company to get to where it is right now. I also believe that there's going to be a Republican wave right now, and this is going to help Palantir get even more government contracts, not just military, non-military government contracts as well. And I believe this is going to spill over to the commercial side, both domestically and abroad. Basically, the thesis of Palantir does not change. They have a huge moat around them. They're the only ones that can do what they do. They're winning numerous awards, saying that they're beating companies like Microsoft and Amazon and Google in cloud services and AI, machine learning. You understand? You don't just get that. They are a behemoth waiting to happen. It just takes time. I believe there's a lot of red tape. If Republicans win, and this is not political, this is going to help. Because right now, I think a lot of people have hate on Peter Thiel as the partner, one of the founding members of Palantir right now. So I am buying more Palantir. I still believe in Palantir. The thesis of Palantir doesn't change, just the timeline does change. And I believe that we're going to be pleasantly surprised in 2023. I don't think that this earnings was terrible. I think this earnings was just okay. And I do believe that it was a much better earning than the last two earnings that we had, which was a complete freaking disaster shit show. Thank you so much. Give me the likes, share, subscribe, and please really do give me the like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell. It wasn't easy to make this video. I'm having a shit day, and that's not your problem. That's my problem, but I am dedicated. The reason I'm telling you this is because I am freaking dedicated to you guys, my viewers. I, Adam Bergman, am dedicated to my subscribers. I love you all. Thank you so much. And if you do want to support the channel, I do have channel membership down below. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because a lot of people said, hey, Adam, I don't like Patreon, but I do want to give you support. Do you have channel membership? I now have channel membership down below. Whatever. Thank you. Have a great day.